The sky was burning. The war had turned the once green planet into a field of smoke and fire. Explosions flashed in every direction like angry suns, and the ground shook under every blast. Ethan Cole, a human soldier, ran through the ruins with his pulse gun in hand. His suit was damaged and blood ran down his arm. His ship had crashed behind enemy lines hours ago. Now he was alone and surrounded by death and silence. His radio was broken. His team was gone. The only sound left was the wind blowing through the destroyed buildings and the faint echo of screams far away. He had fought many battles before. He had seen death more times than he could count. But this time something felt different. The air was heavier, darker, like something unseen was watching him. Ethan walked carefully through the wreckage of an alien village. The buildings were made of black stone that glowed faintly, as if the walls themselves were alive. Bodies of both humans and aliens lay twisted in the dirt. He hated the sight. The war had no mercy on anyone. Then suddenly he heard it. A sound. A soft, trembling cry. He stopped. His finger tightened on the trigger of his gun. The cry came again, high-pitched, weak, and filled with fear. Ethan followed it slowly, his boots crunching on broken glass and ash. He pushed away a fallen beam and saw something small moving in the corner of a collapsed house. Flames licked the walls and smoke filled the air. It was a child. The skin was pale blue. The eyes glowed faint silver. Alien eyes. A Zarian child. The enemy. Ethan froze. Every instinct screamed to walk away. The Zarians were the reason his friends were dead. The reason the Earth Command sent him to this cursed planet. Saving one of them would make him a traitor. But the child was coughing, trying to crawl away from the fire. "Help," she whispered in broken English. Something in Ethan's chest twisted. He looked around and there was no one else alive. Only him and the child. He cursed under his breath, dropped his gun, and ran into the flames. The heat scorched his armor. He lifted the beam off the child and pulled her out. Her body was light and too light. She was shaking, covered in ash and blood. When he reached safety behind a broken wall, he placed her on the ground. Her small hands grabbed his wrist weakly. "Please, don't leave," she whispered. Ethan looked at her. He could see the fear in her glowing eyes. She was just a child. No weapon, no threat, just scared and alone. He pulled out a water pack and let her drink a few drops. She coughed and then whispered something in her own language. He didn't understand the words, but he felt their meaning. "Thank you." The fire behind them roared higher, spreading across the ruins. Ethan knew the noise would soon attract scanners, drones from both sides that killed anything that moved. He looked at the horizon. Smoke covered the sky. His only chance was to move before nightfall. He lifted the child and wrapped her in part of his cloak. She winced in pain, her small head resting on his shoulder. As he walked through the burning streets, memories of the war flooded his mind. He remembered when the Zarians first attacked Earth. They had come from the stars, tall, strong, cold-hearted. The first contact had turned into a bloodbath. Both sides had lost millions, and now, here he was, carrying one of them in his arms. The irony almost made him laugh. Halfway through the ruins, Ethan noticed something strange. The air shimmered, like heat waves but colder. He stopped and raised his weapon. A glowing drone appeared in the sky, scanning the ground with red light. Ethan pressed against a wall, holding the child close. The drone passed overhead, humming softly. For a moment, he thought it was gone. Then the child's pendant glowed, a tiny crystal around her neck pulsing blue. The drone's light turned sharply toward them. Ethan's heart pounded. He aimed his pulse gun and fired. The shot hit the drone and it exploded in a flash of light. Silence fell again. The child opened her eyes and whispered, "They come. Mother will find me." Ethan frowned. "Your mother?" The girl nodded weakly. "Queen." Ethan froze. The alien queen's daughter. The enemy's heir. He looked down at the girl in disbelief. The weight of what he had just done sank in. He hadn't saved just any child. He had saved the one being every soldier was told to destroy if found. Somewhere deep in the night sky, a voice echoed faintly through the air. Soft but powerful, a woman's voice. "You have something that belongs to me." Ethan turned, but there was no one there. Only the sound of the wind and the child sleeping in his arms. The stars above burned like watchful eyes, and he knew his life would never be the same again. The night was cold, darker than space itself. The twin moons of the ruined planet hid behind clouds of smoke, turning everything into shades of gray. Ethan Cole moved silently through the wreckage, carrying the alien child in his arms. Each step was heavy. The air smelled of metal, dust, and fire. Far in the distance, flashes of battle lit up the horizon. The war was still going on, humans and Zarians killing each other without mercy. But Ethan wasn't part of it anymore. Not tonight. He was now a man on the run from both sides. The child slept, her small hand gripping his armor. Her blue skin shimmered faintly under the broken moonlight. She looked peaceful, almost human. Ethan still couldn't understand why he saved her. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe he was tired of war, or maybe it was something deeper. Something human inside him that refused to let an innocent die. He found an old tunnel leading underground. It looked unstable, but it was his only chance to hide. He entered carefully, feeling the ground shake above him as explosions echoed in the distance. Inside, it was cold and silent. Dripping water echoed through the long passage. Ethan set the child down and checked his gear. His communicator was still dead, and his ammo was almost gone. He sighed, leaning back against the tunnel wall. The child stirred. "Where are we?" she asked in her soft, broken English. "Safe. For now," Ethan replied. "What's your name?" She hesitated. "Lyra," Ethan nodded. "I'm Ethan. Don't worry, Lyra. I'll get you out of here." She tilted her head, studying his face. "Why, help me." "I am enemy," he looked away. "Because you're just a kid. War doesn't care who it kills." For a moment there was silence. Then Lyra smiled faintly. The first time since he'd found her. But peace never lasted long in war. Ethan heard a distant humming. The sharp mechanical sound of search drones. The tunnel walls glowed red for a split second. He grabbed Lyra's hand. "Move!" They ran through the darkness as beams of light swept through the tunnel entrance. Drones were scanning, searching for heat. Ethan stopped near a broken ladder. "Climb up fast." Lyra hesitated. "I can't." He lifted her and pushed her upward. She climbed shakily while he followed, his heart pounding. The metal creaked under his weight and one step broke off with a loud clang. The sound echoed. The drones turned toward it. Ethan reached the top and pulled Lyra out into the open. They hid behind a pile of rocks as two drones flew past, scanning the ground. Their red lights passed dangerously close to their faces. Lyra pressed against him, her small body trembling. Ethan wrapped his arm around her, staying completely still. Minutes passed. The drones finally moved away. Ethan exhaled slowly. That was close. But when he looked at Lyra, he noticed something strange. Her pendant, the same glowing crystal around her neck, was shining brighter now. It pulsed with soft blue light like a heartbeat. "Lyra, what is that?" he whispered. She touched the crystal. "It calls—" "My mother." Ethan froze. "Your mother?" "The Queen?" She nodded weakly. "She can hear me." Before Ethan could respond, he felt something. A sudden pressure in his head, like a voice whispering inside his mind. "Human," the voice said, calm and powerful. "You saved my daughter." Ethan looked around, but there was no one there. "Just empty sky," the voice continued, echoing through his thoughts. "You are deep in my territory. My armies search for you. Return her, and I may let you live." He clenched his jaw. "Not until I know she's safe." Silence. Then a low, cold laugh filled his head. "You are brave, or foolish." The connection broke. Ethan staggered back, gripping his helmet. Lyra looked up at him with wide, glowing eyes. "She spoke to you, didn't she?" Ethan nodded slowly. "Yeah, and she's coming." He looked toward the distant horizon. Alien lights glowed far away. Massive ships moving across the clouds like silent giants. The Queen was searching. Ethan knew he had little time. He had to find a place to hide, or a way off this planet. They walked through the broken plains under the dim light of the moons. Strange sounds filled the air. Whispers, movement, shadows crawling across the ruins. Lyra clung to him, afraid. "Don't worry," Ethan said quietly. "I won't let them take you." As they crossed a ridge, he saw the wreck of an old human dropship half buried in ash. He ran toward it, hoping for working equipment. Inside, it smelled like burnt metal. Dead soldiers lay in their seats, their armor melted. Ethan searched through their packs and found an energy cell, half-charged. It wasn't much, but it was something. He looked at Lyra. "We'll rest here tonight. Tomorrow we move to the canyons." She nodded silently, curling up beside him. Her pendant dimmed and stopped glowing. Ethan sat beside the broken window watching the alien stars above. He could still feel the Queen's voice echoing faintly in his head, like a promise or a threat. He whispered to himself, "What have I done?" Outside, far beyond the mountains, a massive shadow moved through the clouds, the Queen's ship descending slowly from orbit. The hunt had begun. The morning came slow and red. The sky above the wasteland glowed like burning iron. Ash fell like snow and the silence of war covered everything. Ethan Cole stood near the wrecked dropship staring at the horizon. His eyes were tired, but his mind wouldn't rest. The night's memory still haunted him. The voice of the alien queen whispering inside his head. Her words were cold and powerful, echoing like thunder in his thoughts. "You saved my daughter. Now return her, or face my wrath." Ethan touched his temple, trying to forget it. But deep inside, he knew she would never stop hunting him. Behind him, the small alien child, Lyra, sat quietly, holding her glowing pendant. She looked at him with trust, the kind that felt heavy, dangerous. "Are we going home?" she asked softly. Ethan sighed. "We're trying, but your mother's soldiers are coming for us. And my people. They'll kill us both if they find out who you are." Lyra's silver eyes widened. "Humans will hurt you too?" He nodded. "They think I'm a traitor now. Saving you broke every rule." Lyra lowered her head, guilt washing over her face. "I am sorry." Ethan kneeled and placed a hand on her shoulder. "Don't be. You didn't ask for this war. None of us did." Suddenly the ground trembled. A low hum filled the air. Ethan's instincts kicked in, ships. He grabbed Lyra and pulled her behind a broken wall. From the distance, dark shapes appeared in the sky. Zarian scouts, sleek and black, moving like shadows. Their engines made no sound, but their presence filled the air with fear. They were searching, hunting. Ethan's heart pounded. He checked his scanner. It flashed red. Too many signals. "Too close," he whispered. "They found our trail." He lifted Lyra and ran through the ruins. Dust and ash rose behind him. The sound of alien wings cut through the sky, mechanical and deadly. Laser fire scorched the ground where he had stood moments ago. They were firing to wound, not kill. They wanted him alive. He reached an old bridge hanging over a canyon. It was half destroyed, barely holding together. The drop below disappeared into smoke and darkness. Ethan hesitated. The bridge groaned under the wind. Lyra looked up at him. "They are coming." He could see the reflection of the scout lights in her eyes. He made his choice. Hold on tight. He ran onto the bridge, the old metal shaking beneath his boots. Behind them, a Zarian ship fired. The blast hit the edge and the bridge began to collapse. Ethan jumped, grabbing a hanging cable. The world spun, and he slammed into the side of the cliff. Lyra screamed but didn't let go. Ethan climbed, pulling both of them up with every ounce of strength he had left. His hands bled, his muscles burned, but he kept moving. He wouldn't give her up. At last, they reached a narrow cave opening halfway down the cliff. He pushed Lyra inside and followed, gasping for air. The cave was dark and cold. Bioluminescent moss glowed faint green along the walls. Ethan crawled to the back and listened. Above, the scouts hovered, scanning the area. Lyra whispered, "Mother is close." Ethan frowned. "How do you know?" She touched her chest. "I can feel her heart." Ethan looked out at the sky. The largest ship he had ever seen was descending, the Queen's vessel. It was massive, shaped like a floating temple of black crystal, its surface pulsing with alien symbols. The air vibrated with its power, he whispered to himself. "So this is her." Inside the ship, Queen Syraxa stood before a window, her silver armor glowing faintly. Her eyes were sharp like blades, and her voice was calm but full of fury. "Find the human," she said. "Bring him to me alive." The child must not be harmed, her soldiers bowed. None dared question her command, but one general stepped forward. "My queen, why protect the human?" "He is our enemy." Syraxa's eyes narrowed. "He did what no human ever would. He saved what we hold sacred. I must understand why." Her gaze turned toward the ground far below, toward the faint life signals of Ethan and Lyra hiding in the canyon. Back in the cave, Ethan tried to think. He needed a plan, a way to survive. His communicator blinked suddenly. Weak signal, but enough to send one message. He hesitated. Sending a signal could bring help, or more danger. Finally, he whispered, "This is Sergeant Ethan Cole. If anyone hears this, I'm alive. I have a child. She's not human. And I think she's the key to ending this war. The message sent, but he didn't know who would receive it. Lyra looked up at him, her small hand touching his arm. You were scared. Ethan smiled weakly. Yeah, but I'll keep you safe. I promise. She leaned against him and whispered, Mother will come for me. But she will come for you too, he frowned. What do you mean? Lyra's eyes glowed softly in the dark. She can see your heart now, and she won't let you go. Ethan didn't understand, not yet. But far above, in her ship, the Queen closed her eyes. Through the bond created by her daughter's pendant, she could feel the human's emotions, fear, courage, and something else she had never felt from an enemy, curiosity, and deep within her, the fire of the hunt changed shape, from rage to fascination. The chase for the human savior had just begun. The night was silver and strange. 2 moons hung in the sky like silent watchers, their pale light falling over the shattered land. The war had paused, not ended but holding its breath. The air carried a heavy calm before the next storm. Ethan Cole stood at the mouth of the canyon, looking up at the alien stars. His armor was scratched, his face covered with dust, but his eyes stayed sharp. He had survived for 3 days with the alien child Lyra, hiding from both humans and Zarians. The communicator had gone silent again. No reply, no rescue. Either no one had heard him, or they had chosen not to. He couldn't blame them. To the humans, he was a deserter, a soldier gone rogue. Behind him, Lyra slept near a small fire made from alien roots that burned with blue flames. Her face looked peaceful, her small chest rising and falling softly. The sight reminded Ethan why he kept fighting, but tonight felt different. Something was in the air. The ground hummed faintly, a low vibration under his boots. The wind carried whispers, soft, almost human words mixed with static. Then he saw it. From the mist beyond the canyon, a figure appeared, tall, graceful, and glowing faintly in the moonlight. She walked as if the world itself moved aside for her, the Queen. Ethan froze. Every instinct screamed to raise his weapon, but his body refused to move. Queen Syraxa stepped closer, her armor shimmering like living silver. Her eyes were bright as stars but filled with something unexpected, sadness. When she spoke, her voice wasn't loud, but it carried power. Human, you have what belongs to me, Ethan's heart pounded. You mean the child, Syraxa nodded slowly. My daughter. You risked your life for her. You crossed our borders, killed my soldiers, yet you did not harm her. Why? Ethan hesitated. His throat was dry. Because she's innocent. She's just a child caught in a war she never started. The Queen studied him, her expression unreadable. You speak as if you understand pain. I've seen it, Ethan said. Everywhere. On both sides, for a long moment, neither spoke. The moons shone above them, and the silence felt almost holy. Then Syraxa's eyes softened slightly. You humans are strange. You destroy what you love, yet still protect what you fear. Ethan gave a small, tired smile. Maybe that's what makes us human. The Queen stepped closer. The air around her shimmered with energy. Do you know what you've done, human? By saving her, you have changed everything. My people see it as weakness. Your people see it as betrayal. I didn't do it for politics, Ethan said quietly. I did it because I couldn't walk away. Something flickered in the Queen's eyes. Curiosity. Or respect. You risked death for my bloodline, she said. Such courage. Or such madness. Before Ethan could reply, Lyra's voice broke the stillness. Mother? Syraxa turned. Her armor faded into soft light as she knelt beside her daughter. The child ran into her arms, crying softly. Ethan watched the reunion in silence. For a brief moment, the war, the hatred, it all vanished. There was only a mother and her child. The Queen held Lyra close, whispering in her own alien tongue. Then she looked back at Ethan. You cared for her when I could not. For that you have my thanks. Ethan nodded, unsure what to say. Syraxa stood again. But now you must leave this world. You do not belong here, Ethan frowned. If I leave, they'll shoot me down. My own people will think I've joined you. Then stay, she said, her tone suddenly sharp. Stay among us? You have earned it, Ethan blinked. Stay with the Zarians? The Queen's gaze met his. You have seen our pain. You have touched our future. The bond cannot be broken, he shook his head. Your people would never accept me. Her lips curved faintly on a ghost of a smile. They will, if I command it. Before he could respond, the sound of engines filled the night, human ships closing fast. Bright lights cut through the darkness and the sky erupted with gunfire. The Queen raised her hand and a silver shield formed around them, blocking the blasts. Your kind never learns, she said softly. Ethan grabbed his rifle. They'll kill you if they get close enough. She looked at him, calm even in chaos. Will you protect me, human? The question hit harder than a bullet. He hesitated, then nodded. Yes. Together they fought side by side as the sky burned. Ethan's shots pierced the darkness while the Queen's energy blades flashed like lightning. The two enemies, once sworn to destroy each other, now moved as one. When the last ship fell, the silence returned. Smoke drifted over the canyon. Ethan turned to her. They'll send more. We need to move. Syraxa nodded. Then come with me, Ethan Cole. Come to my world. Her voice carried no threat this time, only command and something deeper beneath it. He looked at her, unsure if it was trust or madness driving him. But then Lyra smiled, holding his hand. Please, she whispered. Come. Under the twin moons, Ethan made his choice. He followed the Queen into the darkness, not as an enemy, but as something new, and far above in the empty silence of space. Both human and alien fleets turned their sensors toward the same name, the human who saved the enemy's child, and vanished with the Queen. The alien sky burned gold and violet. Giant clouds glowed with lightning that had no sound. Ethan Cole stood on the open deck of the Zarian Queen's ship, staring down at the world below. A planet of silver forests and glass mountains. It was beautiful and terrifying. He was deep inside enemy space now. A human soldier lost among aliens. The ship moved silently through the stars. Alien guards watched him with cold eyes, their hands near their weapons. Ethan could feel their hatred. To them, he was the killer of their kind, a stranger who had no place here. But the Queen, Syraxa, had ordered that no one touch him. He saved royal blood, she had said. He is under my protection. Ethan didn't know if that meant safety or imprisonment. Lyra, the child he had saved, stood beside him. Her silver eyes shone with joy. Look, she said softly, pointing at the glowing world. That's my home. Ethan smiled faintly. It's beautiful, Lyra, she nodded. Mother says peace will come now that you are here. Her words confused him. Peace? I'm just a soldier, Lyra. But before she could answer, a deep voice echoed through the air. The Queen summons you. Ethan turned. Two tall guards led him into the inner halls of the ship. The walls glowed softly, covered in flowing symbols that pulsed like veins. The air smelled like silver rain. They stopped at a massive door. It opened soundlessly, revealing a grand chamber filled with floating lights. At its center stood Queen Syraxa, her long silver hair flowing like water, her eyes reflecting the stars outside. Come closer. Human, she said. Ethan walked forward, his boots echoing on the shining floor. The Queen studied him quietly. You fight without fear. You saved what you could have destroyed. Tell me, Ethan Cole, why? Ethan took a deep breath. Because it was right. I've seen enough death. I couldn't let another innocent die, and not even an enemy. The Queen tilted her head. And now you are among your enemies. Do you regret your choice? He met her gaze. No. For the first time she smiled, small, almost invisible. Your kind fascinates me. Before Ethan could speak, the chamber lights dimmed. A holographic screen appeared, showing human ships approaching Zarian space. The human commander's voice crackled through the air. To all Zarian forces, surrender the human soldier or we open fire. Ethan Cole is a traitor to Earth Command. Ethan's heart sank. His own people were coming for him. And for her. Syraxa turned toward him, her eyes cold again. So they wished to take you. They would burn my world to have you back. I didn't ask them to, Ethan said. They think I've betrayed them. But I didn't, I just... He stopped, lost for words. The Queen stepped closer. You stand between two empires, Ethan Cole. You must choose. Their war or my peace. He looked at her, torn between duty and something he didn't understand. I don't want more death. I just want it to end. Her voice softened. Then fight beside me. Help me stop this before the stars burn again. Ethan hesitated. If I do, I can never go home. Syraxa reached out, her hand glowing faintly. Then stay. Stay where your heart already is. Their eyes met, human and alien, enemies who should have hated each other. But instead something unspoken passed between them. Trust, pain, and an emotion neither dared name. Before he could answer, alarms exploded through the ship. "Incoming fire!" shouted a soldier. The walls shook violently. Human ships had opened attack. Ethan grabbed his weapon. "They're not going to stop." The Queen raised her hand, summoning her energy shield. "Then we defend together." The chamber burst open with light as missiles struck the outer hull. Ethan ran beside her through the chaos. Guards shouted, weapons flashed, and alien fire tore through the air. A blast hit near them. The explosion threw Ethan to the ground. His ears rang. He saw the Queen stumble, her armor cracked. Without thinking, he pushed himself up and pulled her out of the path of falling debris. Syraxa looked at him in shock. "You saved me again." Ethan smirked through the smoke. "Guess it's becoming a habit." She stared at him. Her gaze soft now, not royal, not distant, human. "Why do you care if I live?" she whispered. Ethan's answer came before he could stop it. "Because I don't want to lose you too." The Queen's lips parted, but before she could speak, another blast shook the deck. The sound of sirens filled the ship. Lyra's voice echoed down the hall, frightened, calling for her mother. Syraxa turned, torn between duty and emotion. Ethan touched her arm. "Go, I'll hold the line." She looked at him, truly looked, and then nodded once. "Do not die, Ethan Cole." He grinned. "No promises." As she ran toward her daughter, Ethan turned toward the burning corridor. Smoke and fire surrounded him. The enemy wasn't alien anymore, it was his own people. And in that moment, under the burning light of 2 stars, Ethan Cole made his choice, not for orders, not for loyalty, but for something stronger than war, for the Queen. The storm of war faded into silence. Smoke drifted through the alien sky, painting the horizon in silver and blue. The Queen's flagship floated above the wounded planet, its armor cracked and glowing faintly from the last battle. Inside its quiet halls, human soldier Ethan Cole opened his eyes. For a moment, he didn't know where he was. The room around him shimmered with soft light, walls pulsing like a living heartbeat. Strange symbols floated above his bed, glowing faint green. His chest ached, but the pain was fading. Alien machines hummed softly beside him. He tried to sit up, and stopped when a calm voice spoke. "You shouldn't move yet." Ethan turned. The voice belonged to Queen Syraxa herself. She stood near the edge of the chamber, wearing silver armor broken in places, her long hair flowing like liquid light. She looked tired but unhurt. "How long was I out?" Ethan asked quietly. 2 rotations, she replied, their way of saying 2 days. "You were injured, saving my life." Ethan gave a weak smile. "Guess I'm getting used to it." The Queen studied him, her eyes unreadable. "You are human, yet you fight with honor. My people do not understand it. Many of my council demand your execution. They see you as a spy," he sighed. "And what do you see?" She stepped closer. "I see a man who refuses to die for hate." Their eyes met for a long moment. Something deep passed between them, not words, but understanding. Suddenly the door slid open. A tall alien general entered, his armor black and marked with scars. His voice was sharp. "My queen, this human cannot stay here. His people will come again. He is dangerous." Syraxa's tone turned cold. "He is under my protection." The general bowed stiffly. "Forgive me, Majesty, but mercy for an enemy invites betrayal." Ethan stood, ignoring the pain in his side. "I didn't ask for your mercy." "I'll leave if you want." The Queen raised her hand. "No, you will not leave. You will learn who we are." The general's face darkened. But he bowed and left without another word. When the door closed, Syraxa turned back to Ethan. "My people must see what I see. Come, walk with me." They left the chamber and entered the heart of the alien ship, a vast hall glowing with energy. Crystal columns rose like trees, carrying streams of blue light through the air. Alien children watched them pass, whispering softly. Some pointed at Ethan in fear. He tried not to stare back. Everything was alive. The walls, the air, even the floor pulsed faintly like breathing skin. "This is amazing," he whispered. "This is the core of our world," Syraxa said. "Every Zarian ship is a living being. We grow them, not build them." Ethan stopped, stunned. "You grow your ships?" She nodded, smiling faintly. "Technology and life are one. That is why we could never understand humans. You break what you create." He looked down, ashamed. You're not wrong. They continued walking until they reached a balcony that looked out into space. 1,000 stars shimmered before them. Below, the Zarian homeworld glowed with silver oceans and dark green forests. It's beautiful, Ethan said softly. Syrax's gaze softened. You see beauty where others see power. That is rare. He turned to her. And you? Do you see beauty in war? Her face darkened. Once I did. I thought strength would bring peace, but you have made me question that. Ethan smiled slightly. Guess we're both questioning everything. They stood in silence, the stars reflecting in their eyes, but peace never lasted long. An alarm echoed through the ship. The lights turned red. A soldier ran to the Queen, bowing. Majesty, human ships have entered orbit. They are demanding your surrender. Ethan's heart sank. They're here for me. The Queen's expression hardened. Then they shall see what happens when humans threaten my world. Wait, Ethan said. If you fight them, more will come. Let me talk to them. Let me stop this. You would speak to your own army. For me? She asked softly. For everyone, he said. For her. He nodded toward where Lyra waited down the corridor. And for you. For a moment, the Queen just looked at him. The air between them felt alive, full of something unspoken. Then she nodded slowly. Very well. But you will not go alone. She turned to her guards. Prepare a shuttle. I will go with him. Ethan's eyes widened. You'd risk that? Her voice was calm. I do not let others fight my battles. As they walked toward the docking bay, Ethan whispered, Your council will hate this. She glanced at him, her silver eyes glowing faintly. Let them hate. I am Queen, and my heart will choose what the stars cannot. The bay doors opened, revealing a small craft waiting in the light of twin suns. The Queen stepped inside beside Ethan. For the first time since the war began, a human and a Zarian ruler would fly together, not as enemies, but as something new. Ethan looked at her, the hum of the ship around them. Whatever happens out there, he said quietly, thank you for trusting me. Syraxa turned to him, her voice almost a whisper. It is not trust, Ethan Cole. He frowned slightly. Then what is it? She met his gaze. It is something far more dangerous. As the ship lifted off, stars filled the window, and the line between human and alien began to fade forever. The stars burned red. The silence before war felt heavier than the war itself. Ethan Cole stood in the cockpit of the Queen's silver shuttle, staring at the endless dark. Ahead of them, human battleships filled the sky, cold metal giants ready to destroy anything in their path. Behind them floated the Zarian fleet, glowing like living stars, waiting for their Queen's command. Between them, only this small ship, carrying two enemies who had chosen peace. Queen Syraxa stood beside Ethan, calm and regal, her eyes fixed on the glowing human flagship. Your people have brought every weapon they have, she said softly. Do they fear me that much? Ethan shook his head. No. They fear what they don't understand. Syraxa turned to him, her voice quiet but strong. Then help them understand. The shuttle moved forward. Every ship aimed its cannons, human and alien alike. One wrong word, and the sky would burn again. Inside the human command ship, Captain Jorah's voice came through the speakers, cold and sharp. Ethan Cole, you are under arrest for treason. Return the alien leader immediately or we open fire. Ethan took a deep breath and activated the communicator. Captain Jorah, this is Ethan, listen to me. You're about to start a war that will destroy both sides. The Queen doesn't want to fight. Jorah's reply came with anger. You're blinded by them. They killed millions, Ethan. You think one act of kindness makes them saints? Ethan looked at the Queen, then back at the control screen. No, but I've seen their children cry the same way ours do. I've seen their homes burn the same way ours have. We're not enemies anymore, not if we choose not to be. There was silence on the line. Then Jorah spoke again, this time softer. You sound like you've forgotten who you are. Ethan's voice broke slightly. No, Captain. I just finally remembered. Syraxa touched his shoulder gently. They will not believe words alone. Then we show them, Ethan said. He turned to her. If we go out there unarmed, will your fleet hold their fire? They will obey me, she said. Will yours? Ethan hesitated. I don't know. But they had no time left to doubt. The human flagship began to charge its main cannon. Alarms filled the Queen's ship. The sky flared white. Without warning, Syraxa stepped forward and opened the shuttle's door. A rush of wind and light filled the cabin. She floated out into open space, glowing like a living star. "Syraxa!" Ethan shouted, but she only looked back and smiled faintly. Her voice echoed in his mind. "You showed me your courage. Now let me show them mine." Ethan followed her, stepping into the vacuum. His armor's shield flared around him, keeping him alive. Together they stood between two armies, human and Zarian. Two figures side by side in the void. The Queen raised her hand. Her body glowed with blue energy. The alien ships responded, lowering their weapons. Ethan's voice boomed through the comms. "Both fleets, stand down. Look at what you're doing. We're fighting a war that never should have been." For a long moment there was silence. Only the stars listened. Then a human voice whispered over the radio, trembling. "That's the alien Queen. She's standing with him." Another voice followed. "They're not firing. Sir, they're not firing." Inside the human flagship, Captain Jorah stared at the screen. Two figures, and one human, one alien, shining side by side, refusing to fight. Something in his heart broke. He lowered his head. "All ships, hold fire." One by one, the lights of the human weapons went dark. Then slowly the Zarian fleet followed. The space between them filled with quiet. The first peace in decades. Lyra's voice echoed through the Queen's ship, transmitted to every screen. Her childlike tone trembling but clear. "No more fighting, please. The stars are tired of war." Her small plea spread across both fleets, soft but unstoppable. Ethan turned to the Queen. "It's over." Syraxa's eyes shimmered, tears floating weightless in space. "No, Ethan Cole. It's beginning." She reached for his hand. For a moment, human skin and alien light met, and the galaxy seemed to breathe again. Below them, the planet's surface began to glow. The ancient Zarian temples activated for the first time in centuries, releasing waves of energy into the atmosphere. The light spread through space like dawn breaking after endless night. The voice of the Queen echoed through the stars. "Let this light be our truce, a mark of what we lost and what we found." Ethan watched as both fleets turned away, engines powering down. He felt peace, like real peace, for the first time in his life. When he looked back at her, Syraxa was still watching him. "You risked everything for my child," she said softly. "Now I risk everything for yours, your people." He smiled faintly. "Guess we're even now." The Queen's lips curved gently. "No, Ethan Cole. We are forever bound by blood, by choice, by heart." As their hands touched again, the stars reflected in her silver eyes. And for the first time, the galaxy saw not war but unity. A whisper passed through every ship, every heart, every world. He saved the enemy's child, and the alien Queen claimed him as her own.